this is the final moment for the UN, I'm telling you, to show that it remembers the reason it was established in the wake of the Holocaust, to prevent atrocities against Jews. Wake up! I call on the Secretary General and on leaders around the globe to stop hiding behind empty words. There is no freedom to incite murder and violence, and there is no liberty to attack Jewish students. Whoever does not stand against the abhorrent anti-Semitism is a collaborator. But just as it says in the Bible regarding the Egyptians' treatment of the Israelites, וכאשר יענו אותו, כן ירבה וכן יפרוץ. But the more they were oppressed, the Israelites, the more they increased and spread. Remember these words from the Bible. The UN chooses to continue singling out the Jewish people, but we will only grow more resilient and thrive. Colleagues, today marks the ninth General Assembly meeting held on Gaza since Hamas's massacre. Ninth. Not one of the meetings focused on condemning Hamas or releasing the hostages. Not even one. I'm disgusted by this institution. But if a lion landed on Earth, it would be certain that outside of Gaza, the rest of the world is a utopia. A war is currently raging in Sudan, where tens of thousands have been killed and millions are on the brink of starvation. How many General Assembly sessions have been held on Sudan? Do you know? 0. What about the war in Myanmar? 50,000 have been killed and the war rages into its 4th year. How many times has the General Assembly met and how many resolutions been passed? How about Yemen, where the Houthis dragged the country to disaster? Hundreds of thousands are dead and tens of millions are literally starving.
Go ahead and pull this Joker.
Also fired.
We got the talking point that there's people in Africa being killed and we shouldn't look at Palestine. I also got the memo in there. It reminds me of JFK. He had that quote, if you make peaceful revolution impossible, you make violent revolution inevitable. They're kind of doing that. I also got the memo that Colombia equals Nazis. He told us that. The Bible is okay when you use Old Testament, because we learned earlier you can't quote New Testament and Jews killing Jesus, but you can quote all these Old Testament things that they've been quoting all night.
The Old Testy?
The Old Testy.
I can't believe you made me listen to that whole guy talking. An Israeli accent's a form of abuse in and of itself.
Well, it's better than the Scottish accent and the other talking point guys.
Remove them from campus. Campus? Oh my God! Dude. I just did that kid Matan Evans show. You know him?
No. What's that all about? What's it called?
The kid that crashed the fucking video game awards, and I want to thank my Orthodox Rabbi Bill Clinton. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
Yeah, he did. He like, so I didn't hit me up like this, but he makes me laugh. I take back Russell Dobular's words that Israelis are the only Jews that aren't funny.
Hey, can you turn your gain up a little bit? You have gain on your mic?
Yeah, he's a funny fucking kid, dude. I did his. I went and did it out here recently. Wait,
does he do? Is it like performance art?
Gain. I don't know how to do that.
Oh, okay, I got you. Is it performance art like Crackhead Barney? Or what's he do? Yeah.
Oh, dude. Now, I was against her harassing Mr. Baldwin. Guy's going through enough of that shit nonsense. But then when I saw her, I said, bravo, lady. First of all, that adds a whole new dimension to the Alec Baldwin video. Like you have to go back and watch a video and have a picture of her face next to it to really appreciate what is happening in that. And it's really... And I put it on par with the lady that went into Target looking for their gay pride shit and in full blackface. And then the cashier's like, gay pride was last month. And the lady was so hyped up to fuck up some gay pride shit while wearing blackface. She like, well, I thought you had it. She was like, and then She just storms out and goes, "You're welcome." She goes, "You're welcome." As she leaves, she yelled, "You're welcome." But I want to team them up. That crackhead in whiteface and this lady as a buddy cop, buddy whatever, just on the road and just see the two of them.
Now, Piers had to know what was going on when he lined it up, and yet she held the stage for like a solid 5 minutes before Hassan had it out with the genocide Barbie.
Let me tell you something. You know why Piers kept her on? Because he's actually a great journalist. That's why. Because I know what I was thinking when I saw it. Don't you dare take the camera off this person. Let her speak. Let her speak.
She had her crutches and the diaper, the whole thing.
Yo,
and then she lost her wig.
Dude, I would platform the shit out of her.
Dude, there's a big void to be filled now that Jerry Springer's dead. I mean, I think he's just stepping right into that role, man.
Okay, I just brought this up on the road recently, and you remember when Jerry Springer's like his fucking bouncer became like a family social worker doctor on TV.
Yeah, what's that? Steve Wilkos. Yeah, that's Steve Wilkos.
And it'd be like some fucking dad that's still molesting his stepdaughter or whatever, and he'd go, "That ain't right." And it would be like, "Woo!" And it was the craziest. I'm like, should you be handling this? These complex family abuse and incest? Should Steve Wilkos, the fucking bouncer, just yell it away? Is that? Yeah, that's what it was for. Also, it's all fake. They're probably faking molestation stories. Don't forget that very vital part of it. Most of it was probably fake.
Well, we do. Speaking of Hunter Biden and the father of our country, we do have the new Afro man later to play us out.
You're right. Joe Biden's the father of our country.
He's such a good father. No, that's the Howard Stern interview. Howard Stern was like, "Dude, you're such a good father," and everyone at home is thinking, "Bro, do you not watch the news, Howard? Do you not know about the diary or the laptops, multiple laptops, bro?"
Dude, we covered that Howard's thing, and that don't you remember a few years ago? Well, now a little while ago, but 2013 he was already gone because that's when Marcy Turk. Now at the time, and Artie Lang's a friend of mine, and there's stories like, "Oh, well, Howard read some book about cleaning up your room," or something. It was like a Jordan Peterson of cleaning lady book, okay? And he invited her. He was so inspired, he invited her to come in and help him. Really, I don't know. He's on that fucking America's Got Kids to Traffic contest, right? America's Got Traffic. They've sent out a little kid. There was a little black kid crying, and Howard comforted him.
Did you just call it America's Got Traffic?
Yes.
That's so Jimmy Civilian of you, dude.
America's Got Traffic. And what are you doing, little lady? Yeah. Ed McMahon fucking drunk over you. Anyway, so they I forgot what I was saying because I was still taken up with America's Got Traffic. What was I talking about?
Scott, what's the rewind on that?
So, wait.
There you go.
So Howard is now coming up, and he did have a controversial past, if you recall. He quite a few times had done blackface. Some of the best blackface you've ever seen. The working man loved it, and I used to do construction, sheetrock, and I would get dust all over the customer's floor, turning on their bedroom radio to listen to Stern while we hung that up, and I was reprimanded for it. And it would be a circus on the guy. It was, dude. You know what's crazy? What I realized while we were talking about what a fucking weird program Chump Howard is now. What was on the Howard Stern show? Like chicks riding a Sibian, lesbians, blah. Basically, here's the bizarre thing of the world. All the Howard Stern show, whatever morning dad work hour time programming is now elementary school education. And
it's more true than true.
Clams. Get it out of Stern and get into the school library. It's the craziest thing in the fucking world to me because now Howard is sanitized for adults and your kids are going to watch some drag queen blather some fucking insane nonsense that is supposed to be on Howard Stern. Well, he throws baloney at them or whatever the fuck. Complete inversion.
That's some Overton window stuff right there. That's insane, man.
Except Howard Stern was funny in what's going on right now.
Marcy Turk's his handler. So at the time, it just seemed like, some life coach fucking rich people goop bullshit, right? We didn't look at it how I look at it now, which is, oh, that's his fucking MK Ultra programmer is how I look at it now.
Is that the Harley
all got a
Pasternak
hammer.
of the situation?
That's yes. And who's Britney Spears' fucking lady lawyer that had her in care? And she's like a Christian supposedly, and that's her fucking Pasternak. That's what they should call it. It's like a clergy and a trainer and a drugger, a Pasternak. It's like not a pastor. I gotta call my Pasternak.
Point here on Grand Theft World.
Yeah, so you know, and there's the other disturbing thing I realize is all the jokes that me or any friends of mine made over the years about, you know, did you ever notices kind of stuff. Like almost all of them had to be like a true story. Like, I mean, I guess they were kind of true, but like it's shocking. The reason that those jokes pop up is because something's very wrong. So you ever seen Meat Canyon?
No.
There's a cartoon. This guy's a good animator. He make and he had this thing where it's Drake, the rapper, and put it, dude. Can you put it up? Put in Meat Canyon Drake.
LD, you got that?
Yeah, I'll have a look.
So, because hey, I told you I'm gonna follow this Diddy story wherever it leads, Rich. I don't care.
How are you spelling the meat there?
Meat Canyon, yeah,
Meat?
Meat Canyon, meat like steak.
I was
House
just
of
kidding.
Drake. No, okay.
Yeah,
It's like not a meetup, but a steakhouse. All
Drake.
right, sorry.
Although the guy who owns the Patriots, he calls it a meat up, but that has to do with that Mills guy.
What?
No, I'm just kidding. But Robert Kraft and Meek Mills are very
Dude,
close.
I made my fucking ringtone.
Allegedly.
Did he fucking Meek Mill up the ass recording? I made that my ringtone for my texts because I thought it'd be funny. Okay,
Yeah.
it is funny. Well, I regret it. I regret it with all my heart. I'll just be in the zone thinking about something, and then I hear the noise of that lady, the journalist stomping grapes that falls out of a grape tub that went viral. That's the noise Meek Mill makes while he gets fucking flavor camped. I told you, dude, the esoteric knowledge at the top of the pyramid, the most secret. I'll just spoil it right now. What the most powerful people know that you don't know at the 33rd degree.
We had the Albert Pike book out earlier.
It's not in there. I'm gonna tell
That's
you.
a 33rd degree. That's the manual for the
gotta read
beginning and the
not
origins
the-
of it. That's
yeah.
all I'm saying. That's all I'm
You don't have
saying.
the eye to see. You don't have the
I
eye.
got you. I understand, but I'm just
I'm gonna
saying.
give you the knowledge now. Do you know what it is they know? The ancient Atlantean knowledge that they know?
We don't.
hole's
Is
a
it
hole.
Xenu? We don't
hole's
want to
a
know.
hole. A hole's a hole. A hole's a hole. That is the ultimate knowledge. When you get to the very top, they go, "Hey, man, a hole's a hole. Just fuck them." It's like learning another language. Like, do you
The
speak?
Holy of Holies.
They look at it as versatility. They look at it as fucking versatility. And now I remember my ex, the Israeli broad I used to date in New York, and when she had a job out of NYU working for the Turkish guy, she called it, and it was ESL, okay? And Gay Gerald from the Cellar, who's a good guy, was this guy ESL, and he goes, "Oh, you can take over. Guy's rich and pays good and whatever." Jared, being a nice gay guy, not understanding maybe not to send a little blonde girl to this fucking maniac billionaire Turkish guy.
Bathhouse. Yeah.
And because she's, of course, she went to NYU, her parents are Hebrew, very Zionist, and she's, of course, trauma mind controlled that she's got a fucking, her parents are probably broke because she went to NYU. They weren't. They were like just saying that to her because they wanted her to get a job with a pension or some shit that don't exist in America because they don't know shit except Hebrew a lot. They're very experts in that. But she would work, so she was like too much of that stupid Sex in the City independent women program to go, fuck my career, I might be in danger. Okay, now we weren't really dating for a long time at this point. We were like, and not very long. And luckily my friend George, eventually his girlfriend was able to explain to her she had to get the fuck out of there. Because this guy but so basically this guy, and she had another little blonde assistant doing something. And then he had this cousin, she said, who was like kind of like a five, like a Turkish five with money, a kind of round faced girl. And they're both the worst people I've ever heard about in my entire life. And the guy would do mind games with buying gifts for them, like a bag. But then there's like some weird, I'm like, just give him the shit back and don't keep it. Trust me. And she's like, oh, okay. I go, trust me. And he would tell her like how, yeah, if I have to suck a dick for business, of course. If I go, that's how you make. This is shit a long time ago, dude. A thing of, he was saying P. Diddy shit. He was saying to her the shit that P. Diddy, I promise you, who was saying to Justin Bieber of success and whatever they said to Usher after he got his butthole sewn back up. Okay. So these people look at it's like to pick you up to be a spy and you speak 5 languages. Well, you speak 5 languages. That's why CIA is so diverse, you know, because we need people all over that speak all the languages. And being gay or straight is just like learning another language. So primal way to communicate. In fact, a great weak point. Most spy work has to have some kind of fucking you got to suck a dick component. It's not karate. They portray it as karate, but it's
just
not.
ask James O'Keefe, dude.
What do you mean?
Oh no, you're just saying a lot of spy work involves being gay. You know what I mean? He's doing all that.
Yes, dude.
He had to do the undercover.
That is incredible. And so a whole bunch of people won't have never seen those amazing things. First of all, who knew being gay was the weak link? Because they created this generation of snitches. They don't make them like Roy Cohn no more.
It's been a long time since those Blue Suite parties at the Plaza Hotel before Trump came around, who was trained by Roy Cohn.
Yeah, well, the other factions taken over, like, they battled it out. It's the WEF faction versus the AIPAC faction, kind of, and the eagle will be turning it. The two-headed eagle will be favoring the right wing. We're gonna have a real Reagan time coming up. That's what they're setting up for. Trump has convinced the higher up, whatever the slough, whatever entity is deep within Mount Shasta that runs us. He has convinced them we're going to be going with a right wing thing because I'm not seeing results from you guys on the whatever the Democrat bullshit. You kind of Jimmy Cartering on me, and so that's why I'm watching people. I mean, look at that campus thing. That guy sounds like a fucking appliance salesman from 46th Street. That speech you played where he goes.
But he's the new guy. He's the new spokesman.
Great. You guys did great. They did great. Israel, I don't know why people aren't buying it. You're doing so good.
Dude, he starts a story with Egypt. He ends a story with Egypt, and he's like, therefore Palestine. I thought it was really brilliant.
You're going hard on this because it was bizarre how it snapped back till we got away. But because MSNBC had turned on Israel, they had practically turned on. First of all, they were bringing up AIPAC having too much influence. Mehdi Hassan got fired.
Yeah, Ali Velshi brought that up, and then Mehdi Hassan. I had a clip of him in tonight because he was on Piers. Did you see him on Piers this week? They played that IDF guy for like a half hour, and then they let Mehdi on, and then he just like cleaned their clocks. And I don't agree with him on everything, but he's right on this topic.
He wrote a book called How to Win Any Argument, except that one on the station I worked for. I got fired. I didn't win that one, but except one. There's one you can't beat, Mehdi, to this day. There's one group you can't out-argue him, Mehdi. Mehdi's a fuckhead. And watching what he did with Matt Taibbi.
Oh, yeah.
And whatever. And I agree with it. Like, dude.
Well, you got to watch, like, when he was on Al Jazeera, he had a line.
No,
and
then
then MSNBC.
Old school, conservative.
Right. Yeah, and then he went on MSNBC, and he had to, like, this is what they pay him to say. And
yeah. I like his burqa Muslim times.
Well, I started watching him because back in the day, I was like, there's a dude on TV who looks exactly like one of my former roommates who was a British Muslim dude. And they looked, I mean, he's a dead ringer. So I'm like, it's been 10 years. Is that him? And I was like, no, that's not his name. But then I was like, what's this guy all about? And yeah, I mean, so.
Did you read his book?
No, I didn't.
I want to read
it. But I'm famous for like discarding the messenger and studying the message. So at any given time, like he could say something that's bullshit, and then he could say something that's accurate. So I just try to like.
I want to say I agree with his Palestine take, and also go fuck yourself, Mehdi. I'm saying bullshit.
Yes, exactly. Also,
I don't even believe you care. By the way, if Mehdi's insincere, it doesn't matter. If he's right, he's right. That's what they try to say about the protest. People say some dumb shit. With people that I don't even dislike them, but they're like, "What do you think? It's a real protest? Are you kidding me?" People don't know shit about anything. And the campus thing. So, the whole deal with like basically Iran can fucking destroy Israel with their hypersonic missiles.
Oh yeah, they're like
We
4
don't
times
have
the
those.
size of Iraq.
We don't have those missiles.
Right.
That's disturbing. Do you know we don't
That's
have the technology to
Russia,
make Iran?
China, and Iran.
Yeah, why hasn't that? Because I'm amazed. I always would joke about it, but North Korea was going to get the bomb, and we got to have Seth Rogen kill him before then. Trump, stop. Seth Rogen's mission failed. Trump, stop
Yeah.
insulting him. He's going to get the bomb, and then they got the bomb, and then my memory goes blank, and I don't remember. And we were fighting about if women have dicks. That's how I remember it. So, so fucking. Meanwhile, while everybody's dicking around with nuclear bullshit, it turns out Iran was pursuing these much better missiles that we don't have. And because they're classier than Israel, they actually did hit with precision where they said and gave them 70, what is it, 70, 78 hours?
72 hours, yeah.
To, hey,
Yeah.
we just want to let you know we can. And that is isn't that the most secure spot in the whole wide world in terms of missile defense?
Oh yeah, they didn't want to report on that in the Western media, but here's another aspect they didn't report on. They made it look like Iran wasted all this ordnance and Israel shot it all down. And that is one side of the story, right? But
Yeah,
the
we
other
don't
side
know
of the
that.
story is Iran put up $100 million and Israel had to spend $2 billion of our money to shoot it all down. And if Iran
5 out
kept
of
doing
7 got through though.
yeah,
All that
and if
chaff
yeah,
they're not wasting. Dude, that's their Generation 6 bullshit. Those aren't their hypersonics. Those are their bullshit missiles.
right. That was my point. They're using like all old ordnance, and they're
Yeah.
making their enemy Israel use all this expensive
Yes.
Iron Dome stuff from from
I
America.
guess we don't make good stuff no more. I guess we're Boeing all around.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess as a country, we're a plane with the doors falling off, and everything got hollowed out. And now this is hilarious. So now it sort of make up. So basically, BB's in trouble with his crazy. The people are crazier than him.
But I want to circle back to the Boeing whistleblowers dropping like Boeings. But go ahead.
So, right. So his crazies is as I understand it. Okay. Well, we're going to strike Iran, right? And then they did like a weird fake strike, and then I go, okay, fine. And then they just focused. Okay, everyone, we're calling in some old trigger words. Everyone, get back on. They called the media and said like "beep beep boo bop" or whatever, and they're like, "Well, we got to do something about the campus." Like the way the people snapped to was amazing, and that's why I'm telling you, dude, I believe every fucking word of Kathy O'Brien's craziness. I believe all of it, and I believe the other guy, J.R. Sweet. Have you seen him?
No, but did you see all the Kay Griggs tapes from back in the day too?
Yeah, but so she didn't say. So Burmis told me like, oh, she said she saw them turn into a lizard, but she didn't say that. She said something about technology they had, and Kathy O'Brien says they'll put a technology on where they're like, see, and she's like, I'm not saying there is not interdimensional lizards or there are or whatever. I'm saying they have a thing that looks like it that can make them, and they like to simulate it and like to do mind fuck things like you're gonna be raped and killed and eaten by demons, and then a guy comes in and saves you, and you fucking, you're 11. It's a fucking grown man. Real crazy, and it's shit to be a like dreamlike, and who are you gonna fucking tell, and to split your dude. I didn't understand what I finally get how that shit works now, because it's very clear to me from hearing all these stories. These people talk about themselves in like the 90s, like their iPhones. They're like, I had to get an update, and they were used to pass messages and to like jerk off on like an iPhone. Like they were human iPhones. And now we got iPhones from all this great research, and the thing of like making an AI. Yeah, that's from one end. We're going to try making AI, but of course, I think like a poor person. So I'm like, oh, they're making that. No, while we're doing that, because it's so important to have total control, we're going to work on making you into an AI on the other end, and maybe we'll meet in the middle. And that's what they did. And all them people with their crazy stories are the prototypes, and they mass produced it, and we're well into the mass production phase. And the kids call it clown world. And it's all, and I should have known when they say triggered. Wait, what are you triggered? Trigger. And, psychology, actual post-traumatic stress doesn't work that way based on trigger work. MK Ultra works that way, though. MK Ultra works on you said a word and I'm triggered. PTSD works on like sense memory, right? You smell something or saw. It's nothing like necessarily logical because it's a subconscious thing and whatever. has nothing to do with this nonsense that went through the schools on purpose. And I've had people say to me, like when I did Sitch and Adam show, like, oh, you triggered, like a taunt, like, and I'm like, dude, you're fucking 50. You're talking to me like that? Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, so that's all. Of course, that's why when last time I was watching Project Monarch, should I go, oh, is this like a metaphor for society? Okay, remember I was saying that. Like, the thing is funny. Like, I don't know if this is real, but society does work the way they're saying they're individual. It's almost like a poem about society. Oh, because you got to have your prototypes to really work on it for mass. And that's where you really perfect your drugs and shit. And you know what these motherfuckers did? The same thing, like, let's say you're big pharma and you find some native, oh, you guys chew coca leaves? Well, we're going to find a way to take the pharmacological ingredients and hype them up and do whatever, alchemically make them into a thing that we patent. A thing that's worse than the thing you're doing, and we're going to criminalize what you're doing, right? That's what they do with Satanism and all the other cuckoo religions. They find a way to sanitize, the corporate sanitize. Like that's, if Satanism was your opium, they refined it into Oxycontin. You understand? Like that's how it works. And so John Lilly, that motherfucker is the Oppenheimer of that shit.
Well, the his closeness to dolphins is epic, but there was also like
maybe dolphins will forgive you, motherfucker.
Lilly was doing experiments for the National Institutes of Mental Health. The Secret of NIM is not just a kids movie; it's also a John Lilly story, and they got funding from like Fauci's group. Yeah. It's a little programming for the wee ones out there. They did, yeah. Seriously, there are people who might have seen it, or you've got kids that have seen it. Secret of NIM, NIMH, and that stands for the National Institutes of Mental Health.
It was a Don Blue thing, and I remember it, but I don't remember what it was about. Is it worth watching because it tells you some secrets of NIM?
I never saw it, so I just know it's a movie from back in like 1984.
Yeah, I saw it as a little kid. It would be on a. I remember Larry Nimoy announcing it was going to come on Showtime. Excuse me, Jesus. Yeah. So
is anti-Semitism a type of trigger word, or is it a reaction to a trigger word that people might say? Because I was trying to put together this Semitic thing from earlier with the 1911 encyclopedia and what it actually said a Semite was.
The Arabs are Semites, by the way. They're not Amalekites.
Thank you. I don't want to have to look it up again.
It's like a language family more than a DNA. By the way, DNA tests are illegal. You're not allowed to get DNA tests in Israel. Did you know that?
That sounds racist, but you're not allowed to observe or notice such things.
You're not allowed DNA test. They don't. And you can get some weird. But Russell said it when he. I go, and Russell said it. The Jew Russell Dobbs. I want to stress that because I'm not anti-Semitic. He said it, and I go, really? And he goes, and he was taking. He's like, I know it sounds crazy, and he went back and checked it, and he goes, yeah, that's real. So no Constitution, no DNA test. You watch my boy Dave Smith take Dennis Prager to Dave Smith U.
Dude, we played some epic clips from that. Yeah, that was so.
I'm gonna be more proud of it. Dude, Dave called him a collective. Dave, what a little stinker, because Dave can do stand up. So a lot of the, your Steven Crowders are not funny and they can't do stand up, but you can tell they're like a guy that wants to be funny, and they're like, Smith put in some subtle fucking, dude, because Prager ain't written material since Operation Desert Storm. He has not written new material for many, many years.
I know, and so you can tell from his argument. Yeah, you can tell his argument is like last century, and when
he's like Borscht Belt.
Yeah. When Dave walked Prager down the argument that didn't matter because he's responding to Prager's argument that didn't, like, what does that have to do with Munich 1972? Yeah. And it went over Prager's head. I was like, Dave, just stop right now, man. Like you're losing good material. He's not even going to be able to retort to this.
He did great. And then Baccia almost slid off her chair.
Yeah.
I watch her. I know. Listen.
She's like, aren't you even interested in my retort?
Dude, she was heated up. Dave Smith is Jewish. She wanted to fuck. I'm telling you.
Dave Smith's tall too, right, LD? Because we've seen him at Pork Fest because we're all up at the same festival in New Hampshire. Kurt, you should come in June, Porcupine Freedom Festival. So Dave's probably like 6'4", 6'5", and Dave Smith
is 6'4".
Dude, he's taller than me, and I'm 6'2". And LD's 6'4", 6'5". What do you think, LD?
6'4". I thought
I don't recall, but
Kurt's 6'3". Don't worry about it.
I thought I was taller than him. I swear to God. So I don't know. I don't care.
I just know that you know, he's a tall stand-up comic. And I've seen him in person, and my thinking was an LD, and Cody's in here too. Cody's 6'7". I only notice people, Kurt, if they're taller than me.
You're a
I don't notice their height. I think everyone like 5'8". I think you're my height. But if you're in any way an inch or two taller than me, I'm on already. It's like a primal thing. I don't know. I'm aware of the bigger person.
People think they say to me more than ever in my life, where they're like, "Oh, I didn't think you were so tall." I mean, and I was like, so it's
because we look short on screen. Yeah, I have to.
Rogan's 5'8", and like I never think of his height when I saw something where they're like, he's lying about his height, but no, he's not, because he's the same height as this chick that was fighting who was 5'8". I'm watching him interview, they're the same fucking height. That's how I measure him off the. You ever see those girl fights at UFC? Oh my God, there was.
You ever see the bare knuckle fights that they do? The bare knuckle fighting?
UFC?
Yeah, not UFC. It's a different league.
No, I was watching.
But Master Ken was interviewing her. So if you haven't caught Master Ken, you should check it out, bro.
Oh, you know, I've seen him from time to time, but I don't watch.
He's hilarious.
It's funny. I should watch it.
Master Ken, yeah, in the red gi.
Yeah,
you got to see Master Ken. See him, like, watch him storm Jocko's dojo. That's a good first one for you.
I want to make a manosphere thing called Coach Dick Pill, and what I do is like I teach you how to be a low value male. But let me tell you something. You know all the complaints you hear about these chicks like these like losers. Well, you be one of them losers. I'm telling you, it works.
And there's an angle for that, like Coach Ken. He makes his money from personal appearances. That he also does product placement with the people so it's very well done, and he also like does personal videos. How big
of a production team does he have for it?
I don't know. He's been around for like 10 years doing it, because I remember thinking like, dude, you've been doing this for 10 years, like that's a tough shtick. But he's got it monetized, and like, you know, if I wanted to have like, you know, him tell off my kid's dojo or somebody at work, he would make a funny video for like 50 or $100, or he'll come in person and do that type of thing. And my son likes watching his videos too, so that was like weird.
Yeah, it's a good ad. Dude, I've been doing this joke about because I P Diddy thing. I watch every single thing.
Did you see Jake Tran's mini documentary on it from this week? Jake Tran, do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I know Jake Tran. I haven't seen his.
Yeah, he did. It was like a half hour, and he kind of went through the whole history of how his dad worked. I don't know that he got into it. He said his dad died when he was 3.
He used to be great, and then it started to suck, and then maybe
he got better. Look, he took audience feedback, because when he started outsourcing the voice and stuff like that, people were like, "Dude, we want the Jake Tran narration."
I saw Jake Tran-esque videos about what went wrong with him.
Yeah,
but I gotta say, his old ones I loved. I was like, you know, anyway.
I show his model like of how he learned, because he has a course on how he learned how to do his thing, right? So I show that to my students as this kid was 18, he didn't have any outlook, he learned to do these things, he learned how to monetize, and he has. And I'm like, here's his call to action, here's how he makes his offer. Like, you know, it's not about like inventing something totally new. It's like he recreated and repackaged what he learned to his specific audience, and then did these things that he could have product placement. So like between the Y Files and Jake Tran, they have a good rolling. Yeah, AJ and Co. And that pyramid under Alaska. First off, pass along to AJ. When you get us all hooked that the crack's going to be handed out Thursday night.
I'm friends with the Goldfish, his brother.
I know, yeah. And if we had to rip off, if we ripped off that motif of the goldfish, we would call ours Sheckelfish, and would have a copy of him right over here to represent Tony.
They don't need their brand harm with that kind of humor, especially with this Columbia thing. And I think
I know. So they got us all hooked on Thursday night releases, and then he missed a couple weeks, and then this week he didn't even tell us on YouTube why the video's late, and he made us wait till Saturday or something.
A lot of people watch that show.
I was about to throw down. I know. He's got us all hooked on his format.
I got to watch the Tall Whites one. He always wants me to write a script for it, but I always got something going.
Tall Whites is all right. And you should write a script for it, bro. I'll help you with that. Let's call that a project.
You got to keep, like, the script I'm going to write ain't going to be a thing. He
Well, I
did
gotta
one on-
help you keep it away from the fourth rail.
Okay,
The
so
third rail is what we want to
Diddy-
touch.
Yeah, that's what Diddy says to a young
Oh
upper.
shit, dude.
He has custody. You know, they have to take custody of the person from their parent so they can legally travel with a adult non-family member.
It's a good racket with Barry Gordy and Quincy Jones starting that back in Motown, because that's what Suge said to PBD
Dude,
2 weeks ago.
The book
Did
you
you
sent me, the book
Yeah.
you sent me, what was I'm forgetting, like the Harlem, it's a famous Harlem, like not Renaissance or whatever, but that's a part of that group. They put that out. So that's been around. The Boule has been around for quite some time. The BET Illuminati. And the people do say Illuminati. I didn't think I thought they can't possibly use the term Illuminati. No, they do. They fucking do. Corny ass motherfuckers. And anyway, it just means it's an umbrella term of all the little groups. Whatever stupid thing you're in, you could be probably in Goop, Gwyneth Paltrow's inner Goop circle, and be in it. You know,
Or one of her eggs for the VJJ. What are the stones? There were stones. She sold stones for vaginas. Very creative.
yeah. Why don't you fucking work out your fat pussy, you bitch? That's what it was called. That. Wait, so I was just joking about, because with the height of Diddy and all that, and I remember since I was young, like, why is rap? How come rap music is so misogynistic, right? They always say it. Why is it such misogyny in rap lyrics? And we didn't know, but now we know, thanks to Diddy, that a huge portion of the rappers are fucking gay. That's why they have to fuck pussy for work, and they hate it, and it comes out in their art.
Very angry.
Right? If I had to be gay for work, I'll write homophobic. I'll become a homophobic rapper.
Now, this is all disproved
But
by
holy
the.
shit, that'd be a song I would do.
I want you to know about the evidence that circulates on the Twitter. There was a video of Tupac like in high school, and it clearly proves, because Jay Dyer said, "Totally not gay, dog," was his quote. So I trust that Tupac was straight, and he continued to be straight, and he wasn't involved
He's a
in
good
any of
actor,
that.
though. That's pretty gay.
He's a theater kid.
He was a very, very talented theater kid. And I got to tell you, look, Kyle Dunnigan, my good friend, we're going to do Pussies Live in Austin on this weekend. Coming up. We're going to be in, I think it's already sold out, so you can't even go.
But when you do pussies, it's volitionally, as opposed to Trump. He just grabs them without asking.
Wait, what did you say? When I do pussies, it's what?
It's volitional. You do so volitionally with permission of the
It doesn't
pussies.
work.
All right. Well, thank you.
It doesn't work. It's a mixed metaphor, they call it.
I get sloppy with the mixed metaphors for him. Yeah, you're right.
So then,
Duly noted.
Dude, because Neil Brennan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he fucking. I didn't even know this was in Curb Your Enthusiasm, the pilot. These like Larry David jokes are fucking good. Like about how, because Clinton, like his wife's a Clinton fan, so he can like go get either get a blowjob from a Jew and for free. Like he has a whole funny bit that I don't remember from the pilot. The only thing I remember from the pilot is like, can I use the to form with you? Which is like,
I don't remember seeing the pilot. Are you talking the first episode of the series or something that's not aired with the series?
No, first episode of the series was kind of like a What We Do in the Shadows documentary. And it still is technically, they call it a 3-camera or 2-cam, whatever, fuck. And so they just kind of got rid of the documentary thing, even though it's shot the same way and nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
But when it came out,
like The Office style.
Mm-hmm. We just eventually like don't care about the, but even
Fourth wall.
in the office, they don't acknowledge it's being filmed really anymore. It works better anyway. You don't need all that. You just put on, you get it. But anyway, Neil sent me his stand-up, or he posted this thing. I was like, dude, I didn't even remember I knew he was a good stand-up like that. I knew he was like good, I knew he's like Larry David, but I thought it was like his stand-up was probably too writery. Like the two-form can I use the two-form Spanish thing with you? It was like it was not bad, but it was like, they're like, no wonder, I heard he would like go up and look at a crowd and goes, no, I don't think so, just leave. Like that's the shit he would do at clubs, which is funny, but it's not like, I wouldn't expect you're a great stand-up from that. I expect you're probably a really funny guy that isn't going to put up with doing stand-up. And it was because I saw that first fucking bit about the two-form, I just dismissed him as being alt. And I forgot about a whole bunch of great jokes in the same pilot. And that's what I think about now. It's like, I got to go back to all the things I dismissed because they were too alt. And I have to, there's all like, Dude, have you ever heard that Hillary Clinton's fucking dad was the guy who took over for Al Capone in Chicago?
Yeah.
Is that is that? I mean, it's very believable, but is that
uh,
real?
well,
Like a Joe Kennedy figure.
allegedly, her dad was in draperies, as I recall.
Yeah, he
And
owned a small olive oil shop. I know if you look up, he ran a small drapery. But I mean, it's the most Godfather ass thing.
so you got to ask, whose
And she went
daughter
to
was
Ivy League
she?
schools.
Yeah, when she went to
So Michael Corleone is what she is.
when she went to Ivy League, when she got with Billy Bob Clinton, who definitely had a past and had some shit going on, and they merged political agendas and they said we could be useful to each other. And then she got with the Rose Law Firm. She was involved with Watergate. I think she got dismissed. And then during the Rose Law
Watergate, how?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. She's like early on with that in her career before she defended the rapist against the girl and framed her up. And then later, like, rose to fame and became first
Can you
lady of
stop
the United
tearing down
States.
women, please?
I'm sorry.
Sorry, a woman.
Does she? I thought she was
She persisted.
converted. No. Okay.
Yeah, it looked like that
She's
guy was
actual
guilty.
woman.
And by the way, he probably was guilty, but she persisted. It's a book by Chelsea Clinton about great women like Hillary Clinton.
Hill Dog. You mean?
It's called She Persisted. Can you imagine reading that to your
Well,
child?
but you were saying, well, you said her daughter, which is accurate. Because I was thinking the Strobe Talbot
that's her
thing.
daughter. It looks like a perfect genetic. It looks like a Conan
It
O'Brien
looks-
if they did it sketch. We
Well,
just like mashed the pictures together.
Was it in
Like,
Strobe Talbot? Who was the guy that worked at the Rose Law Firm that I thought she had
I don't know.
a-
You know,
a
all the
thing
history
with?
of the Clintons, I don't know. And I
No,
remember
I-
kind of dismissing it. Well, I was young. I didn't give that much of a shit. But also, whatever Saturday Night Live said, I'm like, whatever they said, I'm sure. You know? Oh,
Yeah.
Whitewater is very complicated. I don't know.
It's really complicated when you have all those Rhodes Scholars swirling around and
But I
Clinton
didn't
being
know about that. See, the Rhodes Scholar thing, I just knew that was a really prestigious thing. And they were Clinton's a Rhodes Scholar. They used to say it like how impressive it was. What
Yeah.
the fuck did I know or anybody?
he's
And
just
I heard
a
of Cecil Rhodes separately.
yeah.
Never put it together. Why would that guy be a
Well, like, and Rhodes got his money from the Rothschilds, and then he did his thing, and then went back to the Rothschilds, and they administrate the Rhodes scholarships. So we could really just cut the BS and call them Rothschild scholars, like they represent the Rothschild agenda. And now, when you say you have a president of the United States who represents the Rothschild agenda, and during his term, Sir Evelyn de Rothschild, and his wife, Lady Lynn Forrester de
He-Man
Rothschild,
villain?
they honeymooned in the White House.
Yeah.
So there's like a whole circle, and that's during Epstein's reign.
Do you remember that
So-
one Rothschild lady that was a friend to Jazz?
Um,
They have a history of
the one that the Disney character is made after. Do you ever see that
I
one?
think that is made after her. Yes,
Yeah, it
I
is.
think it is. And
Because she
there's
has like that
another one.
Baphomet necklace and stuff.
Wait, I didn't
It's
see
like
that.
From Under the Sea. What was that with the mermaid? Did they have a remake or something? Yeah, she's a character. That's,
Yeah.
I
Wow.
forget. Helene de Roth. No, it's not
Do
Helene.
you know who J.R. Sweet is, by the way?
No, I don't. But I saw your text earlier. So who's J.R.
Okay.
Swede?
She's in some high up Idaho Mormon family, and he was in Monarch. He has his website, Mormon Monarch. And you got to watch this guy tell his story because it gets very riveting. And the thing it's fucking, like I said, I'm just trying to listen here. If I heard something new I ain't heard before, I don't even judge it. And I'm watching it, like if people throw it off that there's like a secret space program guy that I love. He's so like obviously a fucking scumbag. Like he's got like smoker's teeth. He's like, well, basically, we're on Mars. And it's like you can just see whatever the fucking guy's about, he's some kind of scumbag, right? This dude looks like a heavily abused person who's from a Mormon family. And like his story is fucking crazy how he talks. Oh, he was another slave of. This is the thing that's funny is like, because this is to be a preposterous thing to say, but I do believe him that he was one of Robert Byrd's slaves. He also said that Larry Bird, in fact, was a slave of Robert Byrd. Which sounds hilarious. And he says it, and so I'm like, wait, that's crazy. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm listening to myself. Like, yeah, that's crazy that Robert Byrd would have owned slaves. Of course, Robert Byrd. Remember his famous quote?
He's a grandmaster of the KKK and mentor to Hillary Clinton.
Okay, remember his old quote back when they were like trying to like rehab that somehow because he's friends to Hillary Clinton? There's an old recording that played on the radio. Stern played it, and they all laughed at it.
Nice
Stern made
callback.
fun of him, and because Robert Byrd, it was insane. And you're like, what is this? And he goes, but he goes, yes, I used to be raised, but then I learned there are white N words. That's his quote of how he was reformed. And they were laughing. You know, Stern back when it was funny, dude. That it was funny. Oh, Artie Lang was on too. Fucking hilarious thing to say. Okay. But now, now, when I think of that quote and I hear that a whole bunch of these MK Ultra people say they were slaves of him, maybe he did learn that. Maybe he did, because if you know the story of debt peonage, right? How the last
No,
slave was officially freed in 1942. You know that, right?
no.
Officially, the final slave was freed in 1942. So after slavery, it's not funny, but I mean, it is like
They picked
amazing.
up on MK Ultra. It's like
No, they
continuity.
fucking did a thing called debt peonage, which means like you get arrested for some bullshit, like vagrancy or whatever, and or some bullshit ordinance, and they got to deal with the local plantation owner. And you go to court, and it's like that'll be $75, and you're like, I don't have that kind of money. And then a guy goes, "Excuse me, Your Honor, I run a plantation. He can work off his," and they put you in a goddamn slave quarters, and you fucking
Well, it's like indentured servitude from
it's debt
years.
peonage. It's called debt.
I
And you
know
know what's
this
great
was the
about it?
more recent incarnation, though, but the indentured servitude went on for hundreds of years prior
Yeah.
to
Let
that,
me tell you
right?
why this is great. Okay,
Yeah.
look, I can tell you're on the fence about it, but let me sell you on it. You could. One of the best parts of it is you can put white people on the plantation too. That's like double the slave power. So anyway, it went on for quite some time, like a very long time, up until around 1942. And it was because some white rich kid was like doing a, I don't know, whatever, a road trip or some bullshit, and he, got sold into slavery and died on the slave. And they were like, this happened to a white guy? I mean, that is outrageous. And and so then this is my favorite part of the whole thing. Their defense, because I think it might have been made illegal or something already. But what happened was Japan was using propaganda that, so their defense about debt peonage, which people were like, this isn't cool. They go, no, Your Honor, this is just slavery. Because you can have a slave if you're a prisoner. That's, state property, et cetera, et cetera. So their defense for the immoral act of debt peonage they're being accused of, they used the old slavery defense. And Japan was using it as propaganda. So you find the newspaper article about they finally freed this guy, some old black guy that had been asleep. It's fucking crazy what happened to this guy, by the way. And they're going, finally, Japan, they freed this guy, and Japan can stop using it as Putin propaganda. That's what the newspapers had, because it was, it was a bad look while we're condemning Japan. I mean, unbelievable, dude. So officially, that's the last slave. And the reason it's the last slave is because their defense was it's not that it's a slave. That's the most American. That's when I think of like, oh, was there like the Satanic Panic? Did you see the one Russ did on Satanic Panic? Because the doctor died.
I saw that story, but I didn't see the clip.
So Russ's angle was, most people, oh, Satanic Panic, yeah, it was a whole bullshit panic. It rhymes too, so it's really sticky of a marketing term. And I'm like, yeah, then you go back and look, and you're like, okay, sir, I think you're mixing up like the Damien Eccles kids with the entire thing. The fucking, oh, they were just saying heavy metal kids are bad. That's how it washed out to him. And but if we're gonna blame this doctor that he put fake memories of insane abuse into people that did not happen to them, he hypnotized them and implanted in them false memories. It's very immoral to do that to someone. That doctor should be ashamed of himself. He put fake memories of satanic abuse in someone that did not have that in their brain, and they believed it was real. It became their reality. Wow. Well, first, we've just proved that mind control exists, and it's easier than we all thought. Number one, the one guy managed to cause the whole panic with his amazing hypnotic powers. That's
Was he from the
incredible.
False Memory Syndrome Foundation?
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, man. Like
Resolution
that's yeah,
Greaves.
yeah, that's a wild one. In fact, that whole Darvo term we were talking about, Rich, was coined by Jennifer Freed, who was the daughter of or basically she
Okay.
accused her parents of abuse as a kid, and they denied it. And instead of providing any backup, they created the False Memory Syndrome Foundation. to refute her claims of abuse
that
as a
guy
kid.
with the dead
Yeah.
eye is part of that. His old
Yeah.
name. He was part of
It was Jolly and West. Louis Jolly and West was involved with it. You and Cameron, like everybody, dude. It's insane. That's one of the
No.
biggest, deepest rabbit.
Oh,
So before they were Pasternak's, they had the
dude.
first
So,
round.
dude, you gotta watch this guy J.R. Sweet, because I'll tell you why. Because he's a Mormon, and you know how Mormons make great government agents because they don't do drugs and they're easily programmable. You know, Mormon. It's an old joke of like in what's that Joaquin Phoenix movie where he's a private eye, he's a hippie and he's dirty, and you know, he's getting beat up by that cop all the time. Paul Thomas Anderson movie, Inherent Vice. You see that?
I saw. I haven't seen the actual film, but I saw that it exists. I like
I think
Joaquin
it's a good
Phoenix.
movie.
I just hadn't
Well,
seen it.
movie I
Yeah,
like, but you know, it's 60s, like and you know,
crime noir.
yeah,
Noir.
Thomas Pynchon book that they suppose you can't film his books, but I like the movie a lot. But anyway, you know, he's get picked up by the FBI. He's always getting beat up by the cops, and but sometimes works with them. And the FBI, they're all fucking Mormons. They're like, so they made, and then we'll give you a Book of Mormon. And I knew this because they right, they don't drink. When I was a kid in school, they go, you can't do drugs even one time, or you can never be in the Secret Service. Remember when they tell you the things you'd be shut out of for life if you ever even tried them once? And they'll interview everyone you know, like how the Hells Angels do. Like, did he ever try pot? I know you miss out on being part of that detail, okay? So Mormons are perfect. Perfect fucking order followers, white, nice and Aryan looking, and oh my God, they've clean shaven. You know, all of it, all the things you look for.
And they do believe in DNA testing and archiving,
Yeah, yeah, they
unlike the
do.
state of Israel.
It's real fucking weird.
Really?
Yeah. In fact,
Yeah.
Michael Aquino
Yeah.
from the Temple of Set, his first wife was a Mormon. He likes to bring up a lot. I'm a Satanist, but we got along fine. Yeah, because they bred
really?
you like fucking. Yeah, because the left-hand path of the Mormon. Did you know they had a left-hand path?
For the Mormon
Yeah, there was a
temple?
Yeah, they have
No
a
shit.
left-hand path. And then your friend, I don't know if your friends are Mormons. I am. That are nice and whatever. They're the right-hand path ones. They're nice and it's good. They're doing good or whatever the hell they think. But the shortest route to the top is a left-hand path, as we all know. And then I realized, oh, everybody has that. Honestly, Jehovah's Witnesses, for all their faults, they don't have a left-hand path because we couldn't get involved in politics or go to war or say God approved of any nation on this earth because he's going to destroy them all because he's disgusting. That's so now you've cut off your left-hand path to power, which is mixing religion and politics, right? And continuing the important eternal cycle of priest versus king power. That's what all this shit has always been about. Is are the priests in charge or is the king in charge? And then they make little alliances, right? And Egypt's all about Egypt's all about that historically. They get conquered and they go, oh my God, you know, your God Jupiter's just like our God, fucking doghead furry guy. They're basically the same. And you might be a god too. We had prophecies about like they suck up to these fucking people that come in and gas them up like they're gods. It's almost like the handler and a star. And by the way, that's what Lucifer means, a star. It's not Satan. So any celebrities, Lucifer, you're a star. You get a star on the Walk of Fame, right? That's what that is. That whole scripture about Lucifer falling was not about Satan. That was about some king that thought he was going to be a star. And the guy's mocking him like, oh, what happened? I thought you were the morning lighting guiding star, but you're pretty fucked now, right, dickhead?
It's almost like the killing of the king ritual that comes if you think you're a rising star like JFK, and which brings me to the answer to your question. Left-hand path of Mormonism, traditionally the guy was named William Schneblin, and he had dozens and dozens of hours because he was like initiated into the temple inside the temple, like the Holy of Holies underground of it. And then he came out and he did a bunch of disclosures, and that was like 20, 30 years ago. I mean, it's back in the K. Griggs era. So I just looked his name up on Odyssey to see if he was still alive, and there
You
is
can
a
only get
video
this
out
shit on
there.
Odyssey, dude. That's how I know something's like deep and dark, and you can only see it on Odyssey. Do you know the video? I forgot. Jason Burmas told me, and I forgot it.
Yeah.
Where the guy saying he was being programmed and Hunter S. Thompson was there. It's on Odyssey.
Yeah. So that's
Will you send both of those? Will you text me both of those, please?
sure. But for the audience, the movie version is Conspiracy of Silence, I think. And the book is the Franklin Cover-Up by John DeCamp. It's in the book. I mean, I can
Yeah, what's that guy's
I
name?
can
What's that
grab it.
guy's name?
Buffett's in there too.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. That kid that like got arrested, went to prison. Like the mind
Danny Bonaducci or something.
No,
Was that a different?
No,
that was a
that's
Franklin.
that's the
Sorry.
Partridge Family. But
But
yeah, I
anyways,
got
but he did a bunch of time in prison and got out, and I found him on
Troy.
Facebook. Yeah, something like that. But I found him on Facebook, and I tried to reach out for an interview, but I
Wait, who?
couldn't
Who
quite
is
get a
this?
hold of him.
Which
Yeah,
guy?
this guy, like the guy I think you're talking about. I'm trying to
Not
remember.
Damien
where-
Eccles, the kid.
No,
No.
All right, Troy Bonner is his name. See? All right,
Troy.
check. The book is The Franklin Cover-Up.
And that's with what's his name? Warren Buffett?
Yeah, Warren Buffett's in here, and Hunter Thompson's named right here on this page at the
What did they say
top.
about him?
That's not the guy who I was thinking of.
The body was to be disposed of at the Al Shifa Hospital. No, that's wrong story. Sorry. Too soon. The body was to be disposed of by the Men with the Hoods, a snuff pornography film, not on TikTok.
Oh, that's what it is.
was
Paul
made-
Bonacci. Paul Bonacci. That's the guy.
Who's that?
Was
Yeah,
made
yeah,
of these events.
Paul
It
Bonacci.
was directed by
Yep.
a man the party had picked up in Las Vegas, whom Paul Bonacci identified as Hunter Thompson, the same name as the well-known sleaze culture figure, who, if you read Fear and Loathing in Las
Yeah, we
Vegas,
were just talking about it, me and my girl.
adrenochrome at
Okay,
that
so-
time was only known to the National Institutes of Mental Health and John Lilly and that small group, Humphrey Osmond, right? So there's a lot of interesting aspects
Okay,
here. And
so
then
this is what I
Offutt
wanna
Air
know.
Force Base sexually victimizing people. This is where Bush flew on 9/11 to that Air Force Base. That's interesting too.
W?
Yeah, W flew to Offutt on 9/11.
Well, it's an important base. Yeah, of course you're going to do
very important.
molestations there. Where you go to some like poor base? It's the president of the United States, dude.
And not for
You had to
nothing,
go-
but
you had to
before we
go
can't
through
say
that,
it, they compare Monarch and Auschwitz. Don't know if you're
Well,
allowed to make
didn't
that.
they get Nazi? All that had to break.
Well,
that
these were
down.
Nazis. Bush's White House, these were guys who funded the Nazis.
So you see what these people put their own families in it first. Number one, the trafficking and the real bad shit, and it's their own kids on purpose, and it's because it toughens them up to run the family business, and it makes them versatile. So hey, you could take it up the ass at a moment's notice. That's like speaking Spanish, right? Like that's a skill. That's a spy skill. You speak the international language of fucking somebody up the ass, and not everybody can do it, right? Well, and then do it and forget they did it. Remember to forget they did it and remember to kill. They don't use those pills no more, this guy was saying, and it makes total sense. He goes, the cyanide pills from the 40s. They don't do that. They put the trigger in for you to self-kill, self-terminate. They do those triggers in people. Of course they would do that. And if you can program people to imagine weird satanic rituals like they really happened, you can do that. See, just saying that guy's a quack, you're still proving that this shit could be done. And if it can be done, what do you think? Just one bad man did it and not our government that would totally do that?
Kind of got a point. They sent back John Connor to try to stop these Terminators, but unfortunately it did not work. But yeah, that's the reference for that. And that's the camp. He was a state senator. So it's not like he's just some crackpot conspiracy theorist. This guy risked his life and lost a lot of his liberty because of this book.
Listen, Hunter S. Thompson could just be a creep that did that, or could be a guy dressed up like Hunter S. Thompson because, as you know, Johnny Depp did him great and Bill Murray did him and whatever. Or Hunter S. Thompson, who famous drug user, could also be a guy they tested out programming on because the guy likes drugs. Very easy to get at a druggie. I always thought the word on him was he likes drugs more than sex, right?
He also had a very suspicious death, and his last words were counselor.
His last words were counselor? What does that
Yeah,
mean?
he typed out the word counselor,
What does that mean?
which could also be a lawyer. Pretty sure that's what I remember. And he shot himself in the house with his kid in there,
No, I
which
know.
was
But why write
allegedly.
counselor? Like, what does that suggest? I'm like,
No, I'm just saying that was the report of like what is
I
the
remember
page
the
that he
suicide
died at
note.
the keyboard on. Or that could have been some CIA propaganda or Mossad propaganda after they whacked him.
I
I
remember
don't
the
know.
suicide note read by Nick Nolte on the documentary. This won't hurt. We had like a Sam Elliott suicide note. Well, John C. Lilly, it's funny looking him up. It's the same kind of disgrace as Oppenheimer. We're like, oh, he was this wacky guy doing all these patents and shit. And they're like, they said he got paranoid and wanted to stop working with the government. But well, listen to this guy's story, this Mormon guy's story, because John Lilly was always on ketamine the whole end of his life. He was on ketamine all the fucking time. Now, maybe if I read that, I don't know, 2013 or something, I would go, oh, whatever, guy was a wacky guy. But now, this is the age of where ketamine, and I've tried it for PTSD. That's what they give it to people for PTSD. Like, so that's a guy who's haunted by some shit that he did. That's how I take that. If he's got to do ketamine all the fucking, you don't need that much ketamine for it to, I mean, physical exercise works better, but ketamine works, I mean, a little bit, and you're good for months. It does work. Too much of it could put you in a weird trance like John Lilly would go into. And it feels like the sunken place from that Get Out. It feels like that. It feels just like
From the tweet from Pasternak to Kanye. Sunken place. He said, I'll send you back to the sunken place.
It's a yay hole.
So that's like it's a K-hole. Yeah, I was going to say K-hole.
A yay hole.
It's definitely not a J-hole.
Wait. He said yay hole or sunken place?
I was kidding. Because it's a K hole. It's a gay hole, but you're talking about Pasternak and Ye. So
no, because if I was trying to get him, I'd go, I'll put you in a yay hole. I would like try to get him through clever rhymings and
yeah,
which is different than PDD putting you in the gay hole. Different things.
Well, dude, then me and Neil were going back and forth about rappers. Like, if I was because I was like, that's why they have to hold the cash in the video for the money smell to drown out the disgusting smell of pussy in the room. You know. Man, please, I'm trying to rap. Oh, you know, you're supposed to like money better than pussy. That's like rule number one.
They did have that bros before hoes.
But then they say money over pussy, and like I always thought I was a loser because I like, you know, I can't get like pussy anymore. Can I be honest with you? I was more into pussy than money. I think maybe it's because I wasn't gay. Now looking back, I might just not be a homo. Maybe that's why I never cared about watches like that. And I didn't wear sparkly jewelry like a 6-year-old girl at a tea party.
Fur coats.
Would a gay man slap another man at the Oscars? Would a gay man marry Beyonce? Answer me that. I remember Beefs, the documentary of rap beefs.
No.
Me and Big J used to watch him and just cry laughing. There's another joke that came true because it was all about rap beefs, and it was 50 Cent versus Ja Rule. But before all this other shit, you know, it was a long time ago, 20 years ago. And the amount of them going back and forth calling each other a bitch, okay, in their thing, it started to get romantic. So me and Jay were cracking each other up, being like, you such a bitch, I want to take you home and eat my mama. Start living right so I can raise your kid. You such a bitch, I want to draw you a bath with your favorite candle, Loganberry. Like,
You're such a bitch, I wrote you a song.
Yeah, I wrote poems about what a bitch you like. It starts to get real, and so but that's just an absurd joke because of how absurd it was. But then you realize, oh, because that's the fucking that's the trick, is to be like, well, that's funny, make it into wacky news. That's the trick, right? Jimmy Savile, the old, like, people made jokes about Jimmy Savile, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, like, Whitney Webb has made jokes as well, so I'm not alone in making fun of Jimmy Savile because I like her joke about Bono's red glasses.
Whitney Webb?
Like, yeah. She just basically said Bono looks like the new Jimmy Savile because he was old and had the red glasses on.
I thought you meant like she did stand up for someone. I guess I just automatically.
She does sit down because she's a mom. She usually has like the kid.
Yeah, no, you get those glasses. I mean, Kyle Kalinske has Project Monarch hair, right? He's got blonde hair. He's got the
Julian Assange hair.
His hair's bleach white. Yeah.
You know, like all the kids in that cult, they bleached their hair white like that when he was a kid. Because Assange first Assange was raised in a cult with his mom, and she had a kid. She had him with some dude in the cult, right? And then I guess they split off. It's like in Australia, right? Way back in the day. I forget. He was a young hacker. His name was Mendax. He got picked up by DOD and MI6 for hacking their shit, and then they let him go. But now they got him definitely under deep lock and key. in Belmarsh.
Oh, it was called The Family. The cult.
There you go.
He was in the family?
Well,
Yeah.
it was an Australian thing, right? There's a
It's different than the one here.
there's a TV series portraying it. Yeah, check this out. Anne Hamilton Byrne, Sinister Cult. Yeah,
Like the Village of the Damned.
they'd kidnap or recruit. I can't remember. My wife was watching this series based on this. But you know, drugs and blonde children and I'm trying to figure out what it was called.
Hey, were you ever in Gifted and Talented program?
Me, Kurt?
Yeah, any of you?
Yeah, I was.
We're all in it, dude.
Yeah.
I'm just asking it. I know I was at one school, but I don't I don't know if they call these things the same thing everywhere. Whatever.
No, it was called the mentally gifted program.
Ours was TAG, talented and gifted.
Yeah, those are all DOD fucking programs. My friend Brooke was in it, and
Did we get a paycheck or something? What's the deal? How did we
No, that's where
cash in on that?
that's where they were grabbing people out of to put them in the program. Was the Gifted and Talented program?
Yeah, Passio was in it too.
He was.
Yeah, because I heard him talk because he was giving a talk, and then I interrupted him. We were doing a VIP conference. By the way, you're invited to our next very independent producer conference, and we'll loop you into that. But he was talking, and then I was like, dude, at the same time, you're in Philadelphia, I'm over in Pittsburgh. We're going through like the same thing because like they gave us different classes, like starting like in third grade. It's like while other kids are learning whatever, playing with crayons, we were learning like statistics and debate and mock trial and a whole bunch of cool stuff
I remember
over
just like reading
until like maybe
other
eighth grade,
books.
maybe. So it didn't go on the whole time. But then after that, I got into I went to Westinghouse Science and Technologies Institute on the weekend because if you're a nerd, you go to school on Saturday too. While other kids go to detention, you drive 3 hours to go to help older people solve problems they can't fucking solve on their own.
What are you, Goodwill?
It was like properties of superconductivity as noble gas elements approximate absolute zero in that.
So you had to go
realm.
work on anti-gravity.
That's what they're trying to figure out.
Class to put you in.
I realized right away they're trying to farm our intelligence, and Goodwill Hunting wasn't made yet, but I was already on to the fact that I don't want to go be solving their problems. Let me give you an example, Kurt. Earlier tonight, we were watching a movie. So my son's 8. We were watching this movie Lift with Kevin Hart, right? And they got to steal.
It's about his shoes.
$2 billion. That's like 20 tons.
Oh,
so there's that crate, right? So as soon as they stated the objective, I was like, pause the movie. And I'm like, here's how you could do it. And I here's how you do it without violence. And you don't have to swap planes. You don't have to do any of this super complex stuff, right? Oh. And then as they started getting into their plot, I said, pause it. I said, my idea, though it would work, is not entertaining enough for a movie. You have to have all this other super complex, unrealistic stuff because there's a way to like take that gold and he wouldn't even know it's gone until later. I know. We should just like have a heist, right? We should have a side meeting and like, figure out.
I was going to say, make a channel of just correcting heists.
That could be cool too.
Like, I could do this better. Okay, here's how you do it. And just plan crime better.
I'll give you an example. There's a way that you can take somebody's oxygen tank and like a roll of prosciutto and some straws, and you can make a 5,000 degree torch to cut into the safe. So like I was thinking, rather than I always thought,
prosciutto, well, how would that work?
Check this out, dude, because you make a oxyacetylene torch out of it. The fat from the ham wrapped around the straws, you put these together, you run the oxygen through it, you can burn right through metal, right? So I was like, my thinking always was, because I have ethics and morals. So I always thought, if I could plan a bank robbery, why not just write a script about it and like be entertaining with it, right? So in this scenario, you'd have somebody who's elderly and they got a big safe or whatever, and there's an oxygen tank, and they find a way to get prosciutto into the house, and then you don't have to smuggle in the means to break in the safe and all this other stuff, and stuff like that. But I don't get paid for that, so I don't develop those ideas really.
Are you planning to rob a Jew? That's a hate crime to add the prosciutto.
No. Not at all.
To bring the ham into it, that's what I find offensive.
The prosciutto is delicious, just in case you had to wait to break into the safe.
What part is the prosciutto? It's a pig?
Yeah, it's pork. Yeah.
Like what? So Ventresca, my mom's made.
Prosciutto is like a pig leg that's hung and dried, and you can have prosciutto caldo or prosciutto caldo, cotto or caldo.
My mom's maiden name Vendor, which is like an Americanized, Ventresca is the actual name. And I always thought it was like some Ellis Island, they just give you a new fucking name.
They do,
It's
yeah.
not. Apparently, my great grandfather, when he immigrated here and he worked at some plant, his Ventresca just means like bacon or pork belly. So they would just call him Bacon because his name means bacon. And he couldn't take the teasing. It like really upset him, so he had his name changed to Vendor because he was so insulted at being called by his literal name. Yeah, well, I don't know, prosciutto. Prosciutto is probably better than I don't know. Maybe it's less insulting if your last name is prosciutto.
And then last Italian fact for you before we go to some thank yous for tonight. Did you know that broccoli is artificially created and that the family that created it's the broccoli of the James Bond franchise movies? Albert Broccoli, Cubby Broccoli, Barbara Broccoli. Their family invented fucking broccoli, bro.
Are you telling me the truth right now? Is this
yes?
A joke?
No, we could play that game, but I just tell facts that you think aren't true, and it's the same thing.
Why don't you just put up the facts then? Because I'll repeat it and I'll be an asshole. And if there's this is like some kind of like prank. You tell the Broccoli family invented James Bond.
Broccoli was invented by the James Bond villains.
Here's Albert Broccoli.
I didn't even know about the broccoli. I knew about Bond, so they're doing well because broccoli's huge.
There's broccoli.
Poppy Bush had a whole thing about hating broccoli.
Calabria, Italy.
Okay, where's the broccoli part?
All right. Well, I'm gonna look up broccoli separately, but he's from Calabria, Italy.
Wouldn't it be
he's Calabrese.
Wouldn't it be his Wikipedia?
Not necessarily. Broccoli is an edible green plant in the cabbage family. Let's go to its history. Broccoli resulted from the breeding of Landris brassilia crops in northern Mediterranean starting about the 6th century BCE. Broccoli has its origins in primitive cultivars in the Roman Empire, was brought to an improved artificial selection in the southern Italian peninsula, Calabrese. Broccoli was spread to northern Europe, 18th century, 19th. After the Second World War, to the breeding of the United States, Japanese F1 hybrids increased yields, quality, growth speed, etc. And broccoli is an annual plant. It's an invented hybrid from the south of Italy, right here. The most familiar is Calabrese broccoli,
but
named after Calabria, Italy, where Cubby Broccoli.
Is that Cubby Broccoli named after broccoli? You're saying it's named after him.
Well, his name's Broccoli. He's from Calabria, Italy. Do you think there's a lot of broccoli? Yeah, I'm just putting two and two together.
You're saying that's his family bloodline. The broccoli.
That's his heritage, bro.
Okay, I thought that broccoli was invented in like the 50s around.
No, but it's in
James Bond.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I might have overboiled it down for you, but what I can tell you is all these cats that he worked for in the James Bond franchise. Let me just type in broccoli here. They're all the people that worked around, for instance, Stanley Kubrick, they're all former MI6 agents, right? So here's Albert Broccoli. Here's Albert Broccoli. Here's all the movies he made, right? All the people were in special operations executive. And then when I go back to exactly who, you've got Harry Salzman, the partner, Ian Fleming, Roald Dahl, Ivar Bryce, Ken Hughes, Ken Adam, the cinematographer and productions designer for James Bond.
Ned Asparagus, he's probably involved.
And then when you look at like Ken Adam, who worked on Kubrick's movies, he did Barry Lyndon, he did 2001: Space Odyssey, Chitty Chitty Gang Bang, that was the porn version of Ian Fleming's children's book. Dr. Strangelove, another interesting connotation about bodily fluids needing to be conserved. Anyway, there's interesting history in the popular culture that we've been fed. Yes.
Oh, that's right. The general would hold in his jizz.
Yeah.
I always watch that Robert Sapir guy.
Dude, his name is what's his name? Mandrake, which is a psychedelic secret society type of initiation thing. The Mandrake from Dr. Strangelove. General Mandrake. Right.
Well, so what's his name? You know what I'm talking about? Robert Sapir. You ever see his videos?
Oh yeah, dude, for sure. They're anthropologists.
So that's why the Cup of Hermes and all that. That's why I first heard all that. And So it's always somewhere, and it looks like he just looks like a guy holding his jizz. He looks like a tall guy who has been holding his jizz for 47 years, and he's not spilling that cup. I use this something every time he talks about it. First of all, I find it hilarious that that's the true power. I mean, I guess Peter Sellers
Allegedly out there for some, I guess. On the other hand, being totally anxious and overreactive to things in the world might not be the best way to roll. Needy could be a way.
Saying I shouldn't jizz every time I'm slightly upset.
No, I'm saying for the sake of the world and world peace, you probably should do.
Okay.
Wasn't there?
Hey, I don't drink adrenochrome, man. I just hold my jizz in. I'm not one of these lazy. Oh yeah, dude. It's like I'm natty, bro. I just hold in my jizz.
I was there's a.
I'm all natty.
I heard some people talking about Epstein and that he just had the girls around to keep him aroused, but never, you know.
Well, they didn't testify. They testified about his weird egg-shaped penis. Oh, by the way, Weinstein. I find this insane that nobody remembers this most important part of the case of Harvey Weinstein. No audience has known about it. In fact, nobody I talked to seems to know about it. I don't get it. You know his dick fell off, right? Some time ago.
Allegedly.
No, it was testified in court.
I know.
Weinstein?
No, it's a public. What do you mean allegedly? The girl, the victim or whatever, because they just allowed other anecdotes in, which is crazy. The girl's story was she thought he was intersex because he had a little nub. And then she, before the attack, he had to get like some weird syringe and inject it into his dick stump. And I'm reading this, and he put his head in his hands. It was reported, because I was making jokes about it, because I'm like, holy shit, case dismissed, Your Honor. Time served, Your Honor. Your Honor, how could this crime have possibly happened? Were they scissor? What happened? He has no dick. There's no weapon. No weapon. No fucking. Nobody remembers it. And I thought, you know what I thought happened? I thought, because I saw an old episode of Montel Williams, and I'd heard this lore that he's a cokehead, right? So he must have shot cocaine into his dick. And people have done that, and your dick falls off. But that's not what happened. He just had diabetes. He's just a fat fuck. Too late for Ozempic.
So this woman says that described his penis as disgusting and said in court Monday it looked like it had been chopped off and sewn back on. Wow.
Bobbit style.
Yeah, so he had like a nub. He had just a nub of a dick. So I'm just like, what kind of attack was he doing? Like, you have to wait for your attacker to get his syringe out to make his fucking, what is this, Jazz Bono with a Reebok pump dick? What is going on, dude? Hold on, I gotta pump up my dick. What, Kitty?
It's the only mention of Jazz Bono in the whole series. So now we know where to find that one.
Fallout's a good show. I like it a lot. Have you seen it?
I have not. I have only seen the ads for it, man. I spend a lot of time like working and reading stuff. I have not. Fallout it's based on a video game that I didn't play anyway, so that's why.
Dude,
I haven't seen it.
It's actually like really well written, and I was shocked how good it was, because I've watched the show for many years. Like, I really watched someone just describe it on a YouTube channel. Just let me know what happened. That's my attention span is that gone. But Fallout was great. It was like when Westworld didn't suck. Remember Westworld was good when it came out?
Yeah.
I think there's some kind of writer crossover or something. There's something going on there, because it almost reminds me of. It's better than I like it better than because it's like funny.
Oh, cool.
Exactly like, and it is like, and the thing is funny is it is like the game. They actually did like a great job with it, dude. And you're watching a Cecil Rhodes roundtable planning the end of the world too. I won't spoil it, but you know how people get paranoid and they go, oh, they release this information in movies, right? No, they don't have to do that, dude. They turned us all into alchemical machines that they just feed the slop that is our culture into us, and then you, the artist, without having to be told, just how Noam Chomsky tells us about reporters, they don't gotta be told what to say. It'll just come out of you if you're creative, and they're interested to see what their fucking horrible shit they've put into the collective unconscious, what you make out of it. That's what they love the arts. That's why all this weird shit, it's always some kind of bohemian art colony, either literally whatever the hell the historic Bohemians, or just that term, which means a dirty, filthy, whore, rapey artist. That's
Well, that was the late 1800s history of the Bohemian Club. until they widened it a little bit to
I
not
just
just
can't get over.
theater actors.
You,
They
you
got
know
the
what, man?
politicians coming.
I really want you to watch
Literally.
that guy's. I want you to watch that guy's story because the timeline he's talking about, it gets,
Yeah.
dude, the story gets fucking wild. It ends up in Mount Shasta. So it ends up in Mount Shasta, and
There's
okay,
a lot of Y-Files episodes on Mount Shasta.
yeah, they ain't putting this in the Wi-Fi's.
Yeah.
And but it coincides with Chinagate. But dude, see what's crazy. The craziest details of this. So all I do is listen to the story. Okay, I'll just hear your story out, and then I think about other stuff. You know, you automatically you're gonna cross-reference it. I'm always thinking of jokes, so I'm like, oh, it sounds like this. That sounds like this. It's like a filing system. It really is what it is. And then I'm like, dude, there's a bunch of things that he's talking about that correlate to other things I found that I didn't really give credence to until I saw him talk about it. And then I'm gonna look if you touch me on things, I'm gonna watch that. I didn't know there's a left-hand path. Dude, all religions that are involved in government have a left hand. That's the left-hand path. When they mix religion and government, that's the left. So the religions you're supposed to be pure and they fuck it up, right? Because it's a shorter route to the top. So then you have like I remember writing a story for something with like this fictitious church that had like a bad side of the church and a good side. And they're like, we're balanced. We're not like, these people do our evil shit on this side, and then we do. That's real. That's a thing. That's just how it is. And that's who got involved in this mind control slave. And all these wild mind control slave stories, I know they did it because that's why we live in clown world. You're watching people, dude. They fucking installed like the software and whatever wetware. They did all that shit, and then you could watch the mood change on a dime now. And hey, we're talking about forget about the thing that just happened. Well, that's just standard practice for everyone.
Now this.
Penn Jillette turn, dude, that asshole. Okay, fine. You couldn't believe people didn't want to wear masks. You Penn Jillette, but now you're skinny. It's amazing. Now his body and his opinions lost a lot of weight. And he fucking, I want to know if he's like, oh, because masks objectively did nothing. They did nothing. That should weird you out every day of your life that if you read the science, they'll tell you now. Nobody cares now. Oh, move on. No, I'm not going to move on. I got yelled at by stewardesses falling asleep and my nose poked out. And they acted like I was giving Ebola to people. And it was the whole thing was nonsense. Is Penn Jillette a guy who from the show Bullshit now? Is he? If he's not, then he's been replaced. And now I get why people have that conspiracy. By the way, I don't know what to make of this, but if you're friends with radio people, like especially in Atlanta or like hubs of all this stuff, they're a vector of a lot of information that's very strange. And I had somebody tell me all about that. It's like a well-known thing that's spoken about that Eminem got replaced some time ago, not with a clone, because it got, he always has a hood up. It was some kind of double. I don't know if that's true. I don't give a shit, but it's very weird. They're like, no, the people are like, he was replaced. It's very strange. That's a very strange thing to have. Like, it's the work, like that's your Boeing work rumors. Hey, I heard the doors suck here, but your work, I heard they replaced Eminem. It's that kind of level of gossip. It's very like odd.
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of money invested in those things. You've seen them try to use holograms to bring Tupac and other people back and try to make money,
Way
from
better
them.
now, the holograms.
Oh yeah,
they're way better.
And so are the robots, and so are the doubles, and the ability to like put another face on people.
I mean, Joe Biden's isn't looking good. I don't know.
No,
would he put his face in a ponytail? I mean, it's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Stop pulling his head over whatever the fuck scaffolding, artificial skull. Like
he looks like the Jeff Dunham character. I mean, he totally
looks exactly like the puppet, except the puppet doesn't have bad hair plugs. The puppet just went bald gracefully. It's the same fucking face. How could you like metaphorically and literally be a puppet? Like, how do you pull that off? That's incredible.
He did it though.
A friend of mine was jabbering about fucking, like, where I'm like, are you kidding me that you think that, do you not watch them? Like, you've talking about the Trump, the whatever nonsense Trump thing that's going to not work out that they're doing. Like, there's like somebody older than me that and also people older than me are susceptible that they all think like they haven't updated their fucking news intake since Dennis Prager wrote new material. It's amazing. And these are load-bearing narratives. I compared to when Jackson Hinkle told me about Tiananmen Square, what actually happened. You know, he's a little guy with a great head of hair. Well, he's a little stinker, but he's telling me, and I didn't even know I was emotional about that. Okay, I was like, what? What are you talking about? Dude, I got like triggered. I was enraged.
Yeah.
But I don't care about that, like what the truth is about Tiananmen Square. But because that was just like a thing that I had just had in the back of my conscience. A guy got run over with a tank, and that's what that poster is. They said, we want democracy. And then China ran him over with a tank. And that's what I remember the story. And I'm like, oh, the tank went around him. He's like showing me like all this. I'm like, and it gave me an emotional response that I cannot explain other than, you know, you get these things loaded into you and you base your life around. We didn't start the fire. I based my life on that song, Richard. Billy Joel. He was always burning.
Yeah.
He just named shit.
I remember having to look some stuff up from that song because not all of the 50s and 60s references he made I had learned about at that point. So I kind of took it serious. And then, you know. Yeah.
Well, I got news for you. Some underground lizards took a guy out of his body from Canada and forced him to write those songs in a clone body. I believe it because those songs suck. It's not they're written by a Canadian, sucked out of his body and stuffed in a clone by a lizard. That's how much those. I hate all those songs. Yeah. I hate all the pop songs. You know like I hate how stupid the fucking lyrics are. I hate remember I Believe I Can Fly from R. Kelly?
No, I've never heard R. Kelly. So thankfully I don't have a DJ in my head playing that song right now.
Yeah, it was a big hit. And you know what made me sick the most sick about it was people, it like meant a lot to them. They're like, oh, you must be dumb as shit. I believe I can DJ Khaled, all I do is win, win, win. I remember seeing that many years ago randomly. All I do is win, win. I'm like, what in the fuck am I looking at? He wins cocks up his ass, by the way. We found out what he wins. Okay. And he took all that dick and then he loses to a bisexual and throws a fit. The irony to lose to Tyler the bisexual and throw a little hissy fit because you were gay in private. You were supposed to have this Sona. Remember that? You don't remember Tyler the Creator won a Grammy and DJ Khaled was furious because he worked hard on DJ Khaled?
No, I was probably nosing one of these books, dude. Mm-hmm. But I could go back. I do know some music history. Like,
let me tell you,
do you remember?
Get your nose up in some black shit because it's all connected.
I do. That's what I'm about to lay down for you, bro. Early 80s, there was the war between Grandmaster Flash, Grandmaster Melly Mel, and Grandmaster Robert Byrd. And then he said, we got some white brothers here. Is that the quote? You guys had the quote here in the video earlier.
What did you just fucking say? The Senator Robert Byrd and Melly Mel.
Yeah, he was a Grandmaster, Robert Byrd, Grandmaster of the KKK. And I was mixing the metaphors of Grandmaster from a DJ. No.
God damn it.
It's too dry. It's too dry. Should I moisten it for you?
Don't try to MK Ultra me here. I come in innocent, like a young Ted Kaczynski when he was fresh-faced.
This is not a Harvard class. And
come here and be humiliated with dry humor as the
Grandmaster Melly Mel jokes.
And we saw how he turned out. Oh shit, it's late. I gotta go, dude. I gotta work tomorrow.
All right, man. We all gotta go too. Kurt, thank you for stopping by. This is a good workout. I'll chat with you this week. Thank you.
Yeah, I knew about the radio thing.
Yeah, for sure, dude. For sure.
Later, guys.
All right, cool.
Peace.
Bye.
What makes the Grand Theft World podcast unique, invigorating, exciting, and informative? Most other podcasts out there are either doing straight up interviews or they're just covering the daily news. They're covering current events from the day they happened. And that is effective. It's useful. It's a great starting point. And then sometimes these current events change during the week past the first story. So we like to give it a little time. You have to wait till some of the dust settles on these stories in order to give them accurate coverage. And the other thing that's really missing in the media landscape is covering the articles that are coming out every day. That's great. That's necessary. But who's bringing in contextual history so that you can understand what has been going on for decades and decades to lead up to the machinations and actions that we see unfolding today? So what we do here on the podcast is we cover current events. Many of these things are censored, but we wait about a week. As a forensic historian, I focused mainly through my career on the history of globalism and collectivism and things that they call maybe the New World Order. There's a lot of facts to these sort of circumstances, groups, events, activities, working groups that they've had over time. So for Grand Theft World listeners, we not only break down the current events, most of which that are censored during the week, we provide you with contextual history, we give you the source notes, the references, we do deep dives, and this really empowers you with an understanding of context and history so that you can make more informed decisions in your life. There's also a community, a membership where you guys can actually ask questions and we can get into the show and we can share evidence. And there's a town hall weekly for Grand Theft World for those who listen to it and are interested in covering the stories that we don't get to during a 6-hour show. Listening to it an hour a day, you could easily consume the week's news, but you're going to have substance and meaning and context and understanding. And with that, you can make higher quality decisions in your life. So if you're interested in more quality in your life, go to grandtheftworld.com, click podcast at the top, and we'll see you there. Thank you.
These allegations are false.
This isn't Grand Theft Auto, folks. This isn't a video game.
What are the most surprising things that you discovered once you started pulling on that thread? Who he was connected to, what institutions he was influential over, what events he participated in?
Come on, man. What are we talking about? Come on, man. No.
You don't have to think about it, dude.
I got this quote because you said you didn't know much about Klaus Schwab. I made it my job to, as soon as this happened, I'm like, okay, this guy's their front man. Let me learn about the official history of the World Economic Forum. I got their 40-year history. I got every book that Klaus Schwab has written or ghostwritten. I went through those books. This is one of the most interesting passages.
Come on, man.